Hi, it's Monday. Feels like Monday. Um, I know things were pretty chaotic on Friday, and no, yeah, a whole bunch of stuff going on. So if I seem a little bit um, preoccupied or maybe annoyed, it's because more annoying stuff has been happening. Um, Things went okay over the weekend. There was just a whole lot of work, especially for Alexis. But anyway, one of our cars decided that it its electronics decided that they didn't want to work anymore. Mechanically, it's fine, but electronically, it's not. I am not really in favor of all of these computers in cars because if just like one little sensor goes wrong somewhere, okay, it can sometimes set off a cascade of failures. And in this case, some sensor somewhere, maybe having to do with the parking brake, maybe having to do with the transmission selector. Okay, not the transmission itself, but the little dial that selects the gear. Um, who knows? It's just yeah, it's pretty. So it has to be towed away, and that's annoying. And anyway, that's how Monday starts. Um, I'm still working on filing and sanding. It's going to be going on forever and ever and ever and ever. Uh, these parts here are here. There's two engines. It's a P-38 twin engine plane, and I have so far completed this, and this row here, and that one. So I've got 14 and 36, H8, H5, H18, H33, and these little bits in here to clean up. And then there's these rubber parts, and I am baffled by them. Like they're supposed to go attach here like that, and they don't look like that. That's probably why they're rubber, and it's not clear where they attach or how. So yeah, that's I guess it's near the end, but still. So what I'm going to be doing today is moving along here. These little ones here are since I did the H11s on Friday. What I know is that they're fragile and that they're not well molded, and that um, yeah, it's not going to be fun. So let's have not fun together and dive in. I'm going to switch boxes. This is my working over in case I drop it, I don't lose it box. That's the box of parts. This is my glasses that I can't use because then I can't see close up with them on. Getting to the point where I can't see close up with them off either. And there's a fly. Great. Why is there a fly here? Because there's always something. Okay, so these are H14s, and these have screw attachments right there where the little attachment point is. There is, of course, yeah, there is um, a ridge where the two parts of the mold came together, and it looks just like the other one. And one side is not too bad, but the other side has quite a significant ridge. Like one's like the bottom part in this orientation was a little bit bigger than the top part. And they were lined up on this side, but the bottom extends past on this side and creates a ridge that goes pretty much all the way around. So I'm going to work on the sprue parts first, sprue attachments first, and try to get those off without damaging the part. So, yeah, there's no real good place to hold it either. I have to be careful not to put too much too much pressure on it because I could break the part. And this is supposed to be one part and not two or three. This is going to be a real test, not just eye-hand coordination, but today is going to be a huge test of patience, of which I really don't have any today, and feeling very impatient. I wonder if they're really coarse grit sandpaper. I'm just wondering about things out loud here. I've got some, which I'm knocking over, some 150 grit sandpaper. I'm going to try this. Let's see if it works any better than the file. It can't be much worse. It's all part of my impatience here. Very, very abrasive. Sort of catching on it though. Oh no. While I'm doing this, I'm trying to not be preoccupied with when what is it going to take to get our vehicle working again. Um, at least, we have coverage that pays for the tow, which is an important and actually pretty skillful thing for people to do. But yeah, it's always and then what's wrong and what will it take to fix it? So probably this is probably one of those things where they'll call up and say, "Well, we can we can give you a good trade in on this junker that you brought in and good price on a 2026 model, that 2025 model that we still have on the lot." Or who knows? No, who knows what's going to happen? Who? Huh, does who know? Who? That's pretty funny because that's the name that David uses when coming onto the chat channel. It's who with some sort of number that I can't read, 128 or something. I'm going to just do a whole lot of muttering. Remember on Friday? Oh, basically, I was just grumpy. I was doing a lot of grumpy muttering. I think today, well, on Friday, there was a big water leak down here in the basement that I had to clean up before the stream, which is why the stream started a little slow, a little late. Um, Today, there isn't a water leak. It leaked again over the weekend. I don't know if you want to hear, talk about something. Why not? And I just talk about that. I thought I had disabled the humidifier that was leaking, but I hadn't, and it leaked again over the weekend. And other people had to clean it up. That was unfortunate. Now it's totally disabled. The that's another thing is to get some sort of service people to come out and take a look at it and say what's going on, and they'll say, well, really nothing going on. It's just this thing plugged up. You want to keep this from happening again? Keep this from plugging up. I'll go, gee, that was worth the $150 service call, whatever they charge. This is just a lot of excess plastic in a not very good place. Getting to the point where I need to use the sandpaper so I don't hurt the part. Move on to the other one. This one's there's not quite as much plastic, but it's still in an awkward location right here by the pin, so I can't work around it. So this is just going to take forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Should I get a power sander and then go and grind into this like really aggressively and probably melt the part with the friction? I don't know. See how that goes. But then there's this ridge all along here. I'll try this grit. This is 320. This is fairly aggressive, but it's not as much as the file. At least I think. I think that's the case. This is working okay. I was looking at this, there was this one here. Need to get the rest of the sprue mark out. This might work. It's really in a bad spot. Frozen grit paper out here and trying to clean it up without gouging it. Okay, well, to the extent that I can see it, it looks like it's okay. Yeah, it was just a weird thing. It's having a deja vu there. Those are, those are always, some people don't mind them, but I always find them kind of disturbing. You know, it's like, this has happened before. I know what's going to happen next. No, not, I guess. I don't know. The very, I mean, everybody has it. That's why it's got a name. They're just these little fleeting things, just a sense of, oh, this is, I've done this before. This exact thing has happened. So, but in this case, I don't, that wouldn't be possible because I haven't built this model before. So how could I have the sense that I've done this before? I don't know. fleeting moment there. This is a repeat. Well, at this rate, I'm not going to get terribly much more done today than these little pipes. These are really a challenge of preparation. I do have to say they really are very challenging. I am resisting the very slight urge to get my head magnifiers out. Okay, because I'm going to say no one's going to get that close to it. And I'm definitely not going to invite anybody to put on a 2x head magnifier to inspect my modeling work. I'm definitely not going to do that because I know some people can build a model that would welcome that. It's like, oh, this is so cool. You can inspect the surface preparation and painting. You can inspect it with a 2x magnification, and it'll look even better. But for me, no. Yeah, that's not the quality of work that you're going to get out of this thing. You're just going to get it. He's going to get what an old guy is capable of pulling off. With the skills available to him. Why is that last bit? Why is that last bit just hanging on there? Yeah, this is where the molding seam was especially bad. So probably after all of this, I'll either mess it up with the painting or I'll get cement all over it. Uh, no, you just have to just hang in there because there's always a huge oops somewhere along the line. Usually the biggest oops come when it should be safe. Oh, well, the hard part's done now. And then I spill something on it. You oh, this is really bad under here. What I mean by that is that it um, it's not even close to. It's like a huge gap, huge disconnect between the two parts of the molded part. It's like there's almost a seam in there, in a valley. Well, I hope that when the tow truck arrives to the van, that it will, be able to get to it without damaging anything. We have a very narrow, twisty driveway. Real challenge. Yeah, I rotate this and it looks okay from one direction and then not from the other. That that's pretty typical. Lately, I'm just sanding it with 1,000 grit paper too. It's not really polishing it, but just you know smoothing out the surface. And I'm sure that if I looked at this in the correct, you I'd see that there is still some problems with it, but it looks like it's mostly okay. Okay, so there's one H14. How long did that take? Forever. What, like a half hour? Really, it took about a half hour to get one done. Well, one thing I can say then is I don't lack for content for the stream. It's like, oh, what would I do to fill the time? There's no problem in that regard because this seems to be doing a fine job of filling the time. I'm not saying it's high quality filling. Like, ooh, this is really entertaining, or this is really interesting, or this is even moderately interesting. You know, it's just uh, it's just filing and sanding, and then doing some more filing and sanding, and then saying, "Oh well, that was great. I got two pieces done in what 45 minutes or almost an hour, and I've only got four more of these little pipes to do after I get this one done." Yeah. And I don't know that there is any other way that I'm capable of doing that would be any faster than this. I think for me, it would be a really bad idea to get a power sander thing. Mainly has to do with fine motor control, being able to see things and having fine motor control, that combination. One should have that if you're going to use like a power sander on a little piece of plastic like this. This is fairly hard plastic. The GT350, the car model that I finished a while ago before the submarine. Okay, that I think that plastic was softer. It seemed to sand away more quickly. Yeah, well, that was the sound of silence. Yes, it was. Sorry, my mind was just wandering off into the. And what else can happen today? It's a Monday. Well, hopefully, it won't turn into like a Garfield style Monday. What was his catchphrase? Something about whoever invented Mondays. Um, Somebody is here. Maybe the two people. Nobody's calling for help, so that's a good idea. Good thing. They're protecting me from whatever is happening. And I'm resisting the temptation to take a break and go see what's happening. Sorry. There's people talking upstairs about one of the many things that needs to be done today. I was trying to hear what they were saying. or at least hear the tone of voice. Trying to listen if there's any sense of distress or panic in the conversation. You know how that is. You're trying to get something done, and you're not. I don't know how this is going to go, but I hope it goes okay. And you're hoping to hear calm voices saying, everything will be fine. This is a simple thing. Do this all the time. Don't worry about it. As opposed to, I don't know. I don't think I can't get my truck in there. I don't know how we're going to move this thing. I think it's in the worst possible place. You know, might have to call in a heavy lift helicopter. I don't know. And then there's too many trees. I think, well, you just lost use of your fan in your driveway for forever. Maybe we can disassemble it here in the driveway. That would maybe be the only way we can get it out. Well, after I'm done with this piece, I'm going to have to satisfy my curiosity. I guess it's not. It's less than curiosity. It's like angst. Satisfy my angst and go up and find out what's happening and if things are okay. It's just really so poorly made. It's a really expensive model. Um, but what happens with these little parts is just, like I said, it's like the mold was bigger on one side than on the other. Not by much, like a quarter of a millimeter, kind of, but it's enough to really mess up the appearance of the part. Instead of looking like a nice clean pipe, it looks like it's just got these ridges on it. Yeah, see, that was the kind of thing is I almost bent it just by moving my finger there to the wrong place. That's the kind of thing that can happen. Is that okay? The sanding is going okay, but then I just push it in the wrong force in the wrong place. It's kind of like the biggest oopses are spilling something, or moving my hand from one place to the other and knocking something over. Okay, well, I'll give it a rub down with this. Okay. Now sometimes it's like right in these angles, where they come together, that's where it's the most problematic. Okay, well, there's that. Actually do need to take a break, um, not just for what's going on upstairs, but uh, you know, a bio thing. So I'm going to put the break thing on, and I'll be back in maybe 10 minutes or so. Well, it took longer than I thought. Everything, everything happens everywhere all at once, kind of thing. That phenomenon happened. Um, got a call from our son who was living overseas. That's how it was, out of the country, and I wanted to be in on the call and say hello to him and to our granddaughter. So that was a higher priority than this, at least at the moment. What have we got here? Those sprue attachments or tabs that I think that's where the sprue is attached. I'm not sure. I have to look at the parts here. Okay, yeah. So that's that. It doesn't have those. It doesn't have those on the top, so those need to come off completely. Here we go. Completely removing them. After this, I've got four more of those little pipe things, pipe-like parts that are just impossible. They're not impossible. They're just difficult and slow and annoying. Yes, our son called. Painter came back. Um, the tow truck came and it is gone. So our van is now on its way to the car doctor, and hopefully they'll be able to find out what's wrong and fix it without uh, for less than the price of a new van. I think there's at least one member of the family who wants it to be dead so that we can buy something different. I would just as soon it not be dead. I really like it. It's a very useful vehicle. And it has as much carrying capacity as these giant pickup trucks. Can load like a whole room of furniture in it practically. And it's enclosed, so you can load a whole room full of furniture in it and transport it in inclement weather. I should have written on it which is which. That's the that's the 150. This is the this is the 320. This is proving to be fairly useful. all of that happened at once, and I wasn't needed for anything except for to call with our son because you know I don't like to miss those opportunity to catch up, make sure you know how's our granddaughter doing. She was inventing a new language that she shared with us. She's going to be 3 years old. Wow, her birthday's coming up. Birthdays do that. Like once a year, birthdays roll around, except mine. I don't have birthdays anymore. I stopped having birthdays a while ago, like a long, many years ago, 15 years ago or so. I thought, no, no more birthdays. If I don't have a birthday, I'm not going to get any older, right? That's how it works. You only get a year older on your birthday. But if you don't have a birthday, then don't get older. And that's my story. And that's what my plan is. Not not a very realistic plan, but hey, I don't know if this part of the part shows or not, but there's a big seam line right along it. There's one H-36. Move on to the second H-36. If I can get through H5 and H8 today, that would be great progress. And then I don't know if I'm getting to the point where I can prime some of these for assembly. Whatever it is, the timing is just going to be really awkward about it. An update. So here's an update. I'll be streaming this week, assuming that nothing much comes up, and that probably the way things have been going, there's always something. But I'm planning to stream again on Wednesday and Friday at the normal times. Um, but then I'll be gone on a travel for 3 weeks, and I said last Friday that I would give you the dates of when I'll be gone and when I'll be returning, and I didn't do that. I mean, I didn't. They're upstairs, and I didn't bring them down here so I could be reliable in my report. So I will try to remember. At least I remembered that I'm going to be gone. Hmm. It's good to do that because then I can be, if I remember that I'm going to be traveling, then I probably will remember to do things like pack, and make sure that I've got the tickets and the stuff you need when you're traveling. But I'll be gone probably. I think it's like almost 3 weeks, and then I'll be back for just a brief, actually a short period of time, and then I'll be gone again for another week. So starting next week, right on up until, and then and then we're gone again. So there's going to be a lot of not streaming in June and July. That doesn't mean that this stream is ending. It can't because I have to build this P-38, and I can't. I have to keep the stream going while I'm doing that. Right. I want to I want to get this model built and build it well. I want it to be at least in the A category, if not a solid A, no less than an A minus in terms of quality. And I'm hoping I'll be able to do that. It'll be slow. This is going to be a very slow build. It'll be kind of like the submarine. You'll wonder, is anything ever going to happen? Is it ever going to end? And that's a good thing to wonder. You might as well just keep wondering that through this entire process. So it's like these engine parts. I'm spending like 3 streams doing just prepping these engine parts, and then the engine gets built, and then it gets covered up. Seriously, it does. Um, so this is probably a total waste of time as far as the model goes. But hey, you know, it is that's how the model is. It's that way. Oh, here, this part at least didn't take terribly long. Just long. What's the right modifier? AI would come up with like 6 or 7 adjectives and adverbs and stuff. Because that's what it does. Okay, these are H8s. H8s have a sprue there, a sprue there, and a sprue there. That's right. I remember this one. This one was attached right on this ridge there on the pipe. So a detail that should be preserved at the same time that the excess plastic is removed. There's probably ridge lines all over this piece as well. Yeah, pretty bad right along the side here. All of these pipe pieces have, either a misalignment or a difference in diameter of size of the organ. So they've got this ridge along the side. Not so much on the inside. Okay, well, these. While I'm doing this incredibly boring stuff, I'll just tell you that, that's how this stream is. This is just a real-time live stream, um, a real modeling show. I've talked about this before. I mean, if this were like a professional in that somebody actually made some money at it kind of show, a lot of this would just be edited, or maybe they do a time lapse kind of thing. That's always fun, isn't it? Where you take something and maybe it takes 20 minutes and you speed it up so it ends up only taking two. Those are fun to watch, but that's not what this is. Okay, I'm messing up. That's not what this is. This is just this is taking. You're seeing how much time it takes because there's no editing, there's no post production. It is what it is, and you can hear the dogs. Something has their attention. Maybe they're just playing with each other. They're just running around. But there are three adults upstairs, and if there is an issue that needs to be dealt with, I was told that I need not worry that they'll handle it. So I'll just worry a little bit. Not hearing anybody yelling at the dogs or anything. So I guess they're just barking. Obviously they're just barking at something. That's what they're doing. And we took the pop filter off of this microphone. Actually, didn't take it off. What happened was that there was like a power outage and things got unset. And I just said, don't bother. Don't bother. That way, if if I'm not talking, you can hear the background noise like dogs barking or a fan on the water heater. We have this fancy new water heater. Well, it's new as of some time ago. It's not new like at this moment because it was installed some time ago. It's a heat pump water heater, and so instead of having a heating element in it, it does. I mean, it's a hybrid. There's a heating element, but we don't use it. It uses the ambient heat from the room in which it is located, which is right next door to where I am, takes the heat out of the air and puts it into the water. It heats the water really well. And it is really very efficient. It saved us quite a lot of, actually, quite a lot of money on our electric bill since we replaced the old ones. It's going to pay for itself, I think, in a little under 2 years, which is a pretty good payback lifetime. I think it has a life expectancy of like 7 years or something. Yeah, but it it's not silent because it's moving air in and out, moving warm air in, and it's pumping out cold air, which actually um, makes it kind of chilly down here because it's pumping out cold air. There, I was surprised at this. They actually have an attachment that you can put on it that takes that you can use it as an air conditioner. It'll take the cold air, the chilled air that it has chilled because it took all the heat out of it to heat the water. You can send that somewhere. You can put a duct, an exhaust duct on it, and use the chilled air to cool something, which we're not doing because it's in the basement, and the basement is, for me at least, more than cool enough. Don't let there be a ridge on this. Okay, that's good. It's got all these little protuberances on it, and if there was a molding seam ridge on that, it would have been more. It would be really challenging to fix it, and I didn't want to be. I didn't feel like being challenged by that, and not feeling like being challenged today. This is enough challenge to get the screw attachments off of these little pipe-like pipes pieces. Huh, okay, this is the first I went, huh, because I looked up to check if it was on screen, and I mean, to the extent that you can see anything of what I'm doing, and you can't really tell very much. I'm just, you know, sanding stuff and filing stuff. But yeah, it was. I was just surprised that it actually was on screen because I managed to gouge the pipe a little bit. Nice going. That's the problem with using a file sometimes is that it'll take off plastic where you don't want to take it off. That happened there, right there. There's a tiny little nick in the pipe. So that will be one of the demerits against perfection. There will be many, okay, but that was one that was like totally preventable. It is so annoying when something that didn't have to happen happens. Okay, well, there's one H8. Move on to the next H8. We'll make an effort to not gouge the pipe. Okay, well, this is the bit where I gouged the pipe last time. Just not keeping it that surface. It got at an angle, and that's all it took to mar the surface. No, that's how I did it when I was doing this side. And it was almost the same thing was happening again. Yeah, it did. I caught it in time this time, so it didn't get very far, but it was that angle. Here, I need to be careful not to get that destroy that little pin. That's the attachment point. Oh, we can make an effort when I cut these off with a little saw. Just get it a little closer to the part. Okay. I don't want to damage the part by taking it off the sprue. Of course, I've talked about that over and over and over and over and over and over and over ad nauseum. I probably could get it like at least this close, and I could save 4 minutes of filing or something. For some reason, I'm having a difficult time getting this in the right orientation. I don't know why. I'm gonna do this side. This try to get this one off with the sandpaper. I can't hold on to it. It's slipping around. Slipperating. It just keeps moving. The other one went, I thought, pretty easily, but this one just, I don't know. It's the same part. I mean, it's identical. I just, I don't know. Having a really hard time holding on to it. And it doesn't, it'll get done, but it's just taking much longer than it might have if I were able to get a grip. It's a nice phrase, isn't it? Get a grip. I need to do more of that lately, not be frustrated by this kind of thing and maintain my PG rating. Not even, what is PG means parental guidance. PG 13 means parental guidance recommended that if you're under 13, you don't go. G, that's it. G rating, general audience. So that means that if you're under 13, okay, you're part of the general audience. Hmm. It's kind of cool. And that's a lot better than being like major audience or lieutenant audience or even colonel audience. Being general audience, it's pretty good. I'm pretty sure that I'm maintaining my G rating. I think, oh geez, you know, saying that every now and then, that shouldn't be a problem. Or oops, making that sound. That sound should be okay. I don't think that should ruin my rating. Although the people in the house here think that it should be banned. Why do you do that? That's my sound for self-explanatory. Let's see. I can't believe that happened. That wasn't good. Why? Hmm. Why did that event occur? Oh yeah, I need to get this bit. Hopefully this blob of plastic will come off more readily than the other one. or not. Yeah, I nicked it again. Could not keep the file from nicking it. No, they're both nicked, so it's going to look like it's part of the piece. I said before that the sprue attachments are more robust. There is more plastic on them than I've experienced with other models, and I think that was intentional, keep them from accidentally breaking off while in their bag. That's a fairly common thing to find. You open the box and you look in the bag, and there are loose parts floating around because they broke off in transit. You know, and then you just hope that they broke off in a way that didn't put a gouge in the part. Just filling in and sanding gouges is usually the appearance. It's hard to get the appearance as good as it would be if they were broken off, like cut off like this, leaving excess material on the part that can then just be carefully sanded away, like I'm carefully sanding this, and it's not going away. It's a tiny spot, and apparently I'm just not reaching. Sorry. There, good enough. Now, these parts definitely need to be washed before they're painted because there's sanding dust, including in my nose, which is why I am coughing like that because I'm getting the sanding dust. Or H5s. What am I dealing with H5s? I'm dealing with, oh yeah, the same thing where the sprue attachment is right next to the little attachment prong and the part, yeah, big molding seam along there. Yep. These are very, very much like H14, which I did not enjoy. Jason Dungeons mug. Oh, someone joined. Oh, sorry, I wasn't looking. Oh, Ole, hi. Oh, you did go to that. Congratulations. How long were you there at the UK Games Expo? One day, a full day? Oh, and you got to meet all the people that you got to meet because, yeah, because of what you do. Is that in London? It must be. Hi, yes. You need to go to, you need to go to, ah, sorry, I just knocked stuff down. I haven't been to one of those in ages. Nikki and Lexi used to go to Comic-Con in Chicago, which is kinda like that, and a smaller I mean, the game part was smaller, but there are always lots of vendors there with new games. Oh, okay. Birmingham, okay. Cool. So multiple days. Sounds like an awesome event. So you come back with your wallet intact, or you come back with your, wallet empty, but your bag's full of stuff? Because I know it can get really tempting when you find something that you like at one of those events. Oh, cool. So yeah, you were a content creator, so you got to be great. Sounds like a really amazing event. I'm sorry, I have to keep getting up because I don't. Ah, okay, that's even better. Early access, VIP lounges. I don't know if you had one of those or not, but why not? Why not just say it? Every once in a while, Dyson Dungeons has fantasies of what we might do because of the dungeon tiles that we make. You know, people have I show them every now and then, like every couple of weeks. I pull out a sample and talk about why this stream exists because it started out as a place where we painted the dungeon tiles for the show. We have these fantasies of going retail with them. I don't know if we ever will or not, but that's the kind of thing we look at. I'm gonna put my glasses on and maybe I don't have to get quite so close. I really need my screen back. Oh, you did, yeah. So there was a lounge. Cool. Ah, okay. I will watch out for that when I stop traveling. I'm going to be gone for about 3 weeks. Get to go on a cruise. I guess it's okay to say that the family has become travel advisors, travel agents, and just are somebody's gone all the time. It just feels like it. I mean, it's not absolutely true, but it's close to being true that for the last couple of years there have been, I think, 60 or 70 days of somebody or other traveling as part of their business. At least that's the excuse. So at some point, on this trip we're taking, this cruise, the internet is usually not terribly great. Okay, I mean there is internet, but it's not the kind of thing where you can do streaming. It's the kind of internet where you can do emails and text. It's going to be near land, so we'll have We might, yeah, I don't know. It depends on the plan that we've got. I'm not sure. We'll have phone service, but I don't think it's going to be like unlimited internet. So we won't be able, I won't be able to watch anything while we're gone. 700. Oh wow. That's just, is that in Berlin? The one in Germany? 1,000 exhibitors. It takes 3 days just to walk that far to see them all. Even if, I mean, if you come in with a map of just the places you want to go, probably you get definitely get your steps in an exhibit like that. Oh, of course it's Essen. You said that in the thing, right? Essen Spiel. Okay, well that wasn't very clever on my part, was it? Well, I'm glad you had a good time. It was got the time off and you were able to do that. Sounds like a really, really cool experience. I really, really need my large print chat screen back. Oh, it's not bad. 7.5 hours. Well, in the U.S., that's like it almost takes that long to get almost anywhere from anywhere. I'm not really exaggerating. So we live in Michigan, and I don't know if you look at a map of Michigan. There's two peninsulas. There's the Lower Peninsula, which is where most people live, okay, and then the UP, which is the Upper Peninsula. It's just the UP, and it can take that long to drive from one end of the UP to the other. It's all two-lane roads. It's very, very rural. Not, I mean, forest rural, all forested. But that's not bad. I mean, the roads are good. October, then you get there. Oh, it's probably too late for Oktoberfest because that's really kind of in September in the beginning of the month. But nonetheless, it's a nice time of the year actually to be traveling in Germany. My son and daughter-in-law had lived in Berlin for quite a while. They just recently moved. Yeah, it's pretty nice. The only better time is when the Christmas markets are open. It's colder then, but Christmas market, Glühwein, Baumstreusel, a lot of fun. Summers are okay too. Let's see if I can get rid of this old line of steam here without doing any damage to it. Oh, another Thursday through Sunday. Yeah, would you be able to get the same sort of press pass access there too? Probably can. pretty well known. You've got 1.5 billion followers. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but not much. Congratulations on that. I know you had this huge upstart about a year ago. I'm going to be very happy to be done with H5. I've got one more of these to go. These little pipes are challenging to get the sprue off and the mold seams. And yeah, they're testing they're testing the limits of my patience. It's an old Marx Brothers. Well, I'm glad you had a really good trip, and thanks for joining in again and sharing that. And I hope you have a chance to get to the Eschenspiel. I'm glad things went that you had a really good time in Birmingham. Thanks for joining in, Ollie. It's really nice when you do that. I really appreciate that so much. Have a good dinner. Oh yeah, just to remind you, I'm going to be gone for like 3 weeks starting next week. I'll be here Wednesday and Friday this week, but then traveling next week. And at sometime this week, I'll try to get the dates on the stream. But thanks for dropping in. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, this is the part with the gap in the back there. No, my eyes are starting to defocus here. I'm seeing flaws and ridges where they might not really exist. And I'm getting sanding dust in my nose. Oh, that wasn't my imagination. That was what really is not good there. Okay. There's one H5. And another H5. Next four pieces are fairly large. So if I can get that far, they should go pretty quickly. Is it afternoon already? Mm. So the challenge for me with this one is to not get impatient, which I am starting to do the last hour. The last hour of the stream, especially the last half hour of the stream, is like I used to. That's how we say it. It's kind of a joke. We used to, but it really is used to. I don't know. That's a weird phrase. Used to. In the past, the stream went from 10 until 2, and then I would take a break about midway through, and I'd say it'll be about 15, 20-minute break, and always turn into 30 or 40 minutes. And then I would come back from the break and not really accomplish much of anything that last hour. So I started doing the 10 to 1. Usually, most times, I wouldn't take a break, or it would be a really brief, like 5 minute, quick little bio break. Um, with the weird, all the this, recently there's just been a lot of we've had a lot of stuff going on around the house, and so the breaks have been a little bit longer. But I found that I would get more done in the 3 hour stream than I did in the 4 hour stream, just because of how how long I could maintain my focus. It's just a way of saying whether I could do this without dropping things too much or having my hand cramp up really badly, which it does sometimes. Um, I have to say that of late, recently, the last couple, well, in between all the travel, just gone for a while, and then dog sitting and construction going on and vans breaking down, humidifiers leaking on the basement floor, making big puddles. It's been There's just been a lot of just a lot of interruptions. Disrupt disruptions. That's a better word. There's been a lot of disruptions. Oh well, speaking of disruptions, so we did. I had talked about on this that on we do these improv warm ups for our show, our D&D show, and this thing called Hot Takes and Cold Reads, which used to, another used to. be about asking AI to write us something, and then we would critique it. And then it started out really funny. AI would just generate nonsensical gibberish, or it would write song lyrics that had forced rhymes. Or one time, we asked it to do a scenario for Dyson Dungeons, and I think every fifth word was moon. We just laughed. It was just moon after moon. Well, we stopped doing that, and so on this stream, I was talking about theme songs for like old shows. Usually for me, it was from the 50s and 60s because those are the ones I remember. Some of the 70s, something, yeah, up to that. I haven't watched much TV after recently. I don't know. Always something else to do other than watching television. But yes, I would, you know, I talked about giving them letter grades. Um, so we did that for our hot takes for cold reads. So it was like a spin-off of the spin-off. I used something that I tried out here in my monologue, um, and it's now one of the hot takes and cold reads. It was kind of fun to do that. Most of the time, we were able to reach, close agreement, not perfect agreement on the grade to be given a song, a theme song. Some of the theme songs didn't have lyrics; they were just music. So Green Acres scored a solid A plus because you know catchy tune, da 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 da, da, had little clicky sounds and stuff in it. It reminded us about what life was back in the 60s. You are my wife. Goodbye, city life. The repartee between the two of them. So that did pretty well. Malcolm in the Middle. You're not the boss of me now. That one was the best. There were some lame ones. Can't remember which one scored most poorly. I think we gave D minuses to several for failing grades. They were just not good. You'll just have to become a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Dyson Dungeons. Patreon.com/Dyson Dungeons. Become a patron, and then you'll have access to that when it is um, put up in a month or two. It was recorded. No, there's a lot of them. The ones that I proposed were old, and the ones they proposed were like from the 80s and 90s. Some of them I didn't even know. And that's what happens when you've got this generational gap. You don't have that much shared experience sometimes. And that happened during our hot takes and cold reads when we were grading theme songs. I didn't get to do Wyatt Earp. I really wanted to do Wyatt Earp because Wyatt Earp deserved like a D, short and stupid and historically inaccurate. And I wanted to do Gilligan's Island. I would have given Gilligan's Island a pretty solid A. But, really the only way to, I can talk about it, but really just you need to become a Patreon patron and just, and watch it. It's pretty fun. Not as good as our Dungeons& and Dragons show, but it's fun. And Alexis gets to go on rants. It's always because it's not generally available. It's a limited audience, so it's not G-rated all the time. Just to let you know that. But yeah, so that is it. Got an idea here and used it in one of the features of Dyson Dungeons. Why is this not going? Sigh time. It's time for sighing. That should be in the to everything. Turn, turn, turn. There is a reason. Turn, turn, turn. And a time for whatever. You know, every purpose under heaven is taken from a psalm. And they go through, a time for this and a time for that. They need one that says it's a time for a sigh. Or sighing. People say, "Why are you sighing?" And it's like, "Well, moving out the excess carbon dioxide." A sigh can be a sign of contentment. It's like a sigh of relief. Or I'm sitting down in a comfy chair finally after not being comfortable for a while or something like that. Could be a sigh of exasperation. A sigh can mean a lot of different things. So it can be very expressive in many different ways. There's a lot to be said for sighs. But in order to interpret it, I think you need to know the context usually. Otherwise, you can't tell if it's a sigh of exasperation or a sigh of relaxation. How can you tell what kind of a sigh it is unless you have the context? And even then, it might be difficult to interpret it. It might be one of those things where the meaning of the sigh is clear only to the sire, the one who is doing the sighing. Maybe we should do that on Take Some Cold Reads. Interpretation and misinterpretation and misunderstanding and understanding of sighs, not like in how big it is, not size, but size. Okay, that's a good homophone, isn't it? Words that sound the same, even though they're spelled very differently and have very different meanings. Size and size, so they just sound the same no matter what. Hmm. Add that to your list of oddities of the English language. It reminded me of an old television show. I think it was Candid Camera. Smile, you're on Candid Camera. It was one of those really early, very, very early attempts at a like semi-reality show. They would go around and hide a camera somewhere, the hidden camera, which was not an easy thing to do back then because cameras were gigantic, not the size of a cell phone like they are now, but I mean, television cameras were these huge boxes that were a foot and a half by a foot and a half by 2 feet. So they have to hide it behind a one-way mirror, the kind you looks like a mirror from one side and you can see through it from the other side, or inside of like things that don't even exist anymore, like mailboxes. I'm not sure if they could do that because that would be a postal code violation. Um, okay. Um, they have a hidden camera and then they'd catch people on the street and play kind of like little practical jokes on them. It was all probably, by today's standards, incredibly tame, but sometimes, you know, push things a little bit. And then they'd, at some opportune time, if the joke had gone a little too far, or if something was really funny, they'd go, "Smile, you're on candid camera," and the person would go, "Oh, what, really? Oh, cool." And they couldn't. They'd have to then get permission to use it because it was, a hidden camera. They didn't know, so they couldn't just take. If the person said, "No way," I'm not letting this be on TV. People aren't going to see this, then they couldn't show it. And if they gave permission, then they did. I don't know if people got paid. Hi, who? Yeah, I'll do a flip as soon as I'm done here with H5. I don't know if people got any compensation for being on Candid Camera. So what was I talking about that? I was talking about that because I was talking about the pronunciation of words. And one of the ones they went down to Texas. This was back again in probably the 60s because it was all black and white. Color TV hadn't, caught up with Candid Camera yet. And they were just letting the rest of the world know about the Texas accent, at least as it was then. And the thing they were asking people to say was all the oil. Okay, all the oil. And people in Texas would say all the all. I said, no, no. But can you say oil? All. Can you say all? All. And everybody would laugh because all and oil, in the Texas accent, oil would come out as all. At least back then when television was black and white, before color was invented. Okay, well, there's an H5. I'll do a flip for who. I had a 5-to-1 living and not living last week. That was pretty cool. That was the first 5-to-1 I ever did. Here I've got er, and not not, not. Maybe I'll get a 6-0. It shouldn't count. That was almost off screen. 3-0. 4, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, two 5-to-1s in a row. The laws of probability have been violated twice now. We're probably getting to some sort of bizarre, I don't know, some sort of weird warp or something. Oh, yeah, there's two. There's little sprue marks on this. One there and one there. So thanks for joining in. I really can't see what's going on. Auto tickets, yeah. Just with random numbers. Now, to be fair to probability, you know, my flipping those things isn't really like a true test because there's lots of variables that go into the way it lands, like how much I flip it and where it lands and if it bounces on something or whatever. But it is kind of weird that I'd gone on for years of doing flips and never had gotten a 5 to 1. Usually there's 3 to 3 or 4 to 2. There it was, two streams in a row. It's a portent. That's a good way. Portent, like it's another word for omen, I guess. It has sort of a sinister ring to it, though. Portent, doesn't it? Like you don't have a portent of really good news. You have good omens. Okay, you can have that, but not portent. So I'm going to say that this is a portent. Certainly was that way on Friday when there all the water on the basement floor. This might be a portent of the bill that we're going to get for fixing the van that got towed away this morning. It was just so weird. It ran fine yesterday morning, and then yesterday afternoon, just like every light on the dashboard, every warning light lit up, and then it gave these messages I hadn't seen before because we hadn't had things go bad before. It's like service this, service that, service this. It was, you know, service your transmission selector, service your brakes, service your parking brakes, service your. It's like, no, not all of these things have gone bad. What has gone bad is the electronic module that reads all of that. It's probably like $1,800. I'm just guessing. It's going to be some sort of computer board, like the brains of it that cost half the value of the car. I'm just dreading what it's going to be. It, hopefully, it might just be a sensor. It might have been one of those chipmunks that got in and chewed through a wire. I don't know. It's not going to be good. Whatever it is, it's just not going to be good. One of those. But that's how things have been since Friday. So there'll be a call from the car place either sometime later today, probably later today. They'll pull it in and it's several $100s just to hook it up to their diagnostic thing. Really, you just plug a couple of cables into a machine and turn it on and read the results. The thing's about 9 years old. It doesn't have that many miles on it because we didn't drive it that much since retiring. It's not like there was a daily commute anymore, um, which is where most miles pile up. Where's the other? There it is. The other sprue mark that needs to be cleaned. So that'll be it'll make the leak in the basement seem like a trivial thing when that comes through. Oh yeah, I'll have to go out and get a job to pay for it. But we really like this van because it's so useful. It's got seating. You can actually get 8 people in it. We did that once. It's not very comfortable, but you can get 6 in very comfortably. 7 pretty comfortably. We have hauled half a ton of retaining wall blocks or stone, paving stones, just almost almost abused it, by hauling large volumes of stuff. Large, not necessarily volumes, but large weights. There's the Christmas tree. Just a really handy thing to have. And the new ones, you know, they don't get better as time goes on. It seems they just get more expensive. So I really don't want to get another one, but it'll be a thing. As I said, I think early on there was one member of the family just saying, "Well, it's old. Maybe we should get a new one." It's like, no, I don't want to be negotiating. Maybe they'll call up and say, "Well, we have this thing on the lot. It's just like the one you've got, except it's not broken, and we just really need to get rid of it at a good price, and you come in and take that." Maybe that'll happen. No, that's not going to happen. It's just going to be it's going to be a gulp, gulp, not even a sigh. This will not generate a sigh. Okay? When they call and tell us what's wrong and what it'll cost to fix us, it'll be more than a it'll be a gulp. Really? What you gonna do? I'll say this: one of the reasons I really like this fan is that it has cloth seats. I don't you can hardly even get cloth seats anymore, right? They're always leather, and leather is cold in the winter and hot in the summer. You know, it's not that easy to maintain, um, but that seems to be it. You have to have that or leather-like substance, whatever they're putting in cars. Rich Corinthian leather. I don't know why Corinthian leather was a big deal back. Chrysler, I think, was the one who advertised that. So, because of the way we abused the van by hauling retaining blocks and paving stones and you know large quantities of dirty, heavy material, um, I'm going to do these little bits next because they're hard to do. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, the, the cloth seats hold up to that pretty well. When you fold them down, you put a tarp down, or if it's really heavy, sometimes a piece of plywood to keep it from getting torn up. But it's handled it well, and the seats are really comfortable. But yeah, the new ones cannot be obtained without the leather seating. And then they put all sorts of stuff on them nowadays and then charge for it. And you go, I don't need all these things. I don't need a 15-inch diagonal OLED screen for the back seat. I really don't need that. Oh no, but you must have that. Why? Well, because we must charge you for it. Why? Because you have it. But I don't want it. But you must have it. And then there it is. The other thing I found is because they're trying to squeeze as much profit as they can out of these cars and they're not selling. New car sales have gone down really significant here in the States just recently, the last couple of months. And you would think that that would give rise to really good deals, but sometimes it doesn't. It's just the opposite. It's like, well, if I'm not going to sell 6 cars this week and only sell 3, I'm going to have to squeeze more profit out of each one, which is another disincentive to purchasing a vehicle. I'm just anticipating bad news today. I'll tell everybody about it on Wednesday. I'll, I'll do a gulp and a sigh. So this is the last couple of streams, and instead of just talking about interesting things like television theme songs from the 1960s or the homophones like size and size and things like that. Something that might be moderately interesting. This has just turned into like two or 2 sessions now, 2 streams of just grumbling about stuff. So I should apologize for that, but actually, I'm not going to. I'm just going to say, well, yeah, it's just been that way. Just a lot to grumble about. So you get to hear the grumbling. So that 5 to 1, those 5 to 1 flips, I think, were definitely portents. This has to be cleaned up pretty well. It's going to be ending up. This is going to end up being painted chrome, and so a molding seam or a remnant of sprue is going to show. Although not much of this will actually show because most of it's inside the engine, and then most of the front is covered with a propeller. So it's another one of those things where a lot of care needs to be taken to prep the part and then paint the part and then like 2 millimeters of it somewhere will show. And of course, those 2 millimeters will be the part, where either the prep or the paint wasn't perfect. I think this bit back here is it goes in like this. Yeah, like that. So you can see that hardly any of it shows, and then the propeller goes on like that. So I don't, you know, what's the deal, right? Why am I even bothering with this bit back here? I don't know. Explain why. See, it goes in like that. So this part back here is just totally invisible, and I'm wasting my time with it. This bit here is probably covered by the propeller. Yeah, it's getting to the point where my hands aren't working anymore. That happens near the end of the streams. It's starting to get a little bit of cramp on it. So if suddenly I go, "Ah," and, you know, make a yelly sound and starts trying to stretch my fingers, it's because, yeah, like, why am I cleaning this off, right? Okay, well, there's one. I've got two more parts left. I've got H33, which is the very, very front of the engine. That's the part that's going to show when it's all covered up by the pylon. Probably should be careful with it. It's a great idea to be doing it here at the end of the stream when I'm mostly not careful with things. Maybe I'll save that until Wednesday. I don't know. If I had another hour, what I would do is I would prep these parts for priming. And on Wednesday, I could actually be doing some assembly. I don't know. I might do that. I mean, just to prime them, I just need to put them on a piece of cardboard. I just need to tape them. You don't really need to see that. I'm not making any promises here. Okay. It depends on how the next couple of minutes go. What have I got? 20 minutes yet before one. So theoretically, I've got that much time yet. Is taping these onto pieces of cardboard so I can prime them. And once they're primed, then I can actually start assembling and painting. I'm only going to do one of the two engines. I'm going to take that all the way, one of them all the way through the point where the pylon goes on because I really do want to see which parts are necessary for assembly. Okay, how much of the engine and the mounting actually needs to be there for it to go together. Because a lot of it is there's no attachment points; it's just the engine, right? I want to see that to see if it's going to be possible to do use one of these as a display engine. And these are the last bits. Look at the tiny little delicate bits, tiny little delicate spots. And there's 3 sprue attachments. Lovely. Lovely was said in a sarcastic tone of voice because it's not. It's just really yeah, I thought these little bits would be really simple, but now they're kind of touchy and delicate. I'm trying to be careful not to break off these tiny little bits. I don't want to break bits that are there because they're part of it, you know. Yeah. Something made a clicking sound that was really scary. Nothing's broken. I don't know what that was, but it was not good. That's not a sound you want to hear when you're building a model. There's one. So some of these parts are painted just on one side and some on the other. So I'm going to have two pieces of cardboard for the priming. One will be I don't need to turn these over, and the other will be I need to prime them on one side and then turn them over. That way I will remember which is which. That's the thought anyway, is that I will remember that by doing them that way. That'll give me a chance to like double check everything. This one's a little different in that these tiny little prongs. I don't know if they're supposed to show on the other side or not. Okay. Um, got like almost 15 minutes left, 10 minutes at least. I think I'm going to, the next step is to prime these things and start painting and assembling. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a few moments to. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to speed these up a little bit. I don't know what that's about. Somebody at the door. I don't know why. Must be the paint. This is the engine block. But a part goes on here, and I want it to fit evenly, and it's not quite. I can prep that again a little later, but I think, for example, this goes on here like that. and it fits better if the parts are even. The back isn't going to show unless I do a display one, but same thing here. The parts will fit better if the two halves are lined up. You know. Okay. What I need to do, I'm not going to get this all done here on the stream, but I can get the setup done, is not only do I need to like attach these to a cardboard piece to prime them, but I need to make sure that they're labeled. Thought about this a little bit. Um, big enough, I can always make it smaller, right? Is that I can do this. I can go like these are the parts that just get done on one side. I can go H9, and then I'll double side tape these and put a piece of tape on that. H22 are these 4 bits. Like that, right? H18, H29, H33. These little bits need to be done on both sides. These, I think H36 is one-sided. It's flat on the other side. These need to be primed on both sides. This pipes will definitely do. These just go on. No, they'll show. Those need to go both directions. So here, before I drop these and lose them all. Oh, that piece of cardboard. See, that's what starts to happen. Is I was not carefully moving something from one place to the other as I knocked something over. Great. Everything's in the way suddenly. Everything's suddenly in the way. And when I, because this is get painted over, right? I put a piece of tape on there, and then I can peel that off, and hopefully it will still have the number on it. That's my cleverness of the moment. We'll find out if that really is clever or if it's just a stupid idea. I'm not sure which. And I tape these to the cardboard because otherwise the spray will send them flying, and then they will be lost. And that would be bad. I'm not sure I'll get all these parts on before. I don't know, maybe I'll just keep going till they're done. What do you think? I go like 5 minutes late or something. Nobody upstairs cares. They say, "Oh, good, Greg's not here. I guess he's out of our hair." That's a phrase that I'm sure has some sort of original origin story that has to do with like lice or something. I don't know that for sure. I'm just making that up. I have no clue. You know, get out of my hair, which means you're in my way. Get out of my way. Be not in my way. So when I'm down here doing this, I am not in their way up there. And that I think they think is a good thing. I am having trouble. I need to slow down here. I'm having end of stream syndrome. I'm getting impatient, moving too fast, knocking things around. I should have done the other ones first, so they're the tiny ones. These are the easy ones. What I'm doing is I'm setting this up to prime them between now and Wednesday. These will be covered. It'll look splotchy, but it'll be white primer. I'm using good quality primer on these. And then on Wednesday, I can actually start with one set. I'm gonna prime both for both engines since the parts are all prepped. What I'll do is I'll probably just leave them on here. Okay, I'm just gonna leave them on the cardboard. I'm gonna take the tape off of the identifiers. and one set will be assembled into an engine, and the other one will wait until that one's done. I need another piece of cardboard that isn't warped. This this needs to be set somewhere where I made a mess here earlier. I was trying to do something that turned out to not be a good idea. Okay, one thing I forgot to do that I need to do now is I need to wipe these, give them a wiping of the sanding dust that got on them. This isn't really, hopefully it's just barely effective enough. This is like way too big. Very blue on the other side. I'm sure I must have used it for something. Okay, so what I've got is H15, H6, H11, H14, H8, H5. That's two, and then the little bits, the tiny pieces. We'll do these one at a time. Well, you're getting a bonus here today. I'm making up maybe for the extended break I took earlier, but I really do think this just really does need to be done. Um, Before Wednesday. Otherwise I'll be moving ahead to the parts for the next bit. Step 2, which will be a little kind of premature really. H6 is almost identical. H15. People coming to the door all the time. What is going on up these little parts are just going to be a problem. Making long, narrow ones. I'm hoping they stick to something. I hope this method works in terms of, you know, getting the parts primed without losing them. And not much contact there. Trying to give it just like one more tiny little bit of adhesion. When I flip it over, it'll be fine because it'll adhere to the whole side of this. So what I need to do. I hate to do this way, but I need to. As I'm looking forward to having a disaster potentially is by losing these parts. I want this to fit inside of a box like that. I need to make this smaller. Should have thought of this, you know, sooner than later, but I didn't. I know I'm cutting up the cardboard underneath too, but it's just cardboard. Good. These other pieces, I'm actually going to tape inside the box. Because they're tiny. See, if I put them in the box like this, if something blows off, then hopefully it'll stay in the box. I'm not numbering these because they're just tiny little parts. Can't be confused with anything else. They're just tiny little parts. I wonder if I should. I don't know if the other box will fit. If the other piece of cardboard will fit in a box or not. I'm going to test that. Big engine block things. I think I need to do it sideways like that. Okay, so these parts in a box. These parts, if I cut that extra bit off there, that was stupid. I have another one. Yeah, I've got another box. I'm congratulating myself on not being too terribly stupid. Mostly stupid. Doesn't fit this way. I thought it did, but it doesn't quite. Okay, so what I've got are all the parts for step one, except for the rubber part that I don't know what to do with. And these are ready to be primed. These get primed on one side, and under these little bits of tape are the numbers so I don't get them confused, especially these bits, because they're they're really similar. They're just set up for different different sides, and if I lose the number, I'm going to lose track of what they are. And so what will happen on Wednesday is I'm going to start on step one here in terms of assembly and some painting. I'm not sure. Sometimes I'll paint the parts. I'll have to decide if I'm going to put them on and then paint them, or paint them then put them on. A lot of these they're all painted light gray. So like this, I'd probably put like this, and well, I need to paint that first. I need to paint the metal black bits. But some of these I'm going to be painting after I put them on. Okay, because it'll be better than there. No, I don't know. I'll have to decide whether I want to paint them first and then put them on, or put them on and then paint them. Um, one way or the other. This thing called metal black. I've got steel, which is a very nice dark metallic color, and I also bought um, obsidian metallic black. I want to test those paints, do some testing before I do some painting. But on Wednesday, I'm going to be messing around with this with just one of the two engines. Okay, and the rest of it, I'm just going to leave the parts on these pieces of cardboard with the labels for the other one, and I'll put them in storage somewhere. So that's what I'll do. So I went long today, but that's okay because I'll be able to show some progress. I'll show some sort of progress on assembly on Wednesday. In the meantime, I'm just going to say thanks for those of you who joined in. And yeah, I'm putting things in the wrong boxes. I've definitely overextended, paying a price here in terms of making a mess and knocking over microphones. And I'm just going to leave this stuff here and not take it upstairs because it's very likely I'm going to leave them here and put some paper towels over them. I failed to wipe them off beforehand. Well, they're ready to be primed, and then I'll be back on Wednesday and making an effort to do some painting and assembly. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thanks, everybody. See you then.